So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome for further reading of Epictetus, the Stoics. And without further ado, let's just get to the book. Well, okay, I should explain the graphic here. So what does it mean? It means that Stoics are always indifferent to anything that happens to them and say, well, that's fine. Is it really like that? Well, let's look into the book. We read the handbook of Epictetus, a former slave, born, I believe, 80 after Christ, in the year of the Lord. And he was born as a slave and developed this very interesting position that we will look into right now. If you're interested more in that, then check out my other channels. Like this here is really just an assisted reading channel where I may have, and I actually often have, problems with the text itself. So some things are up to us and some are not up to us. Okay, that's clear, right? Like some things we can manipulate, others we cannot. Our opinions are up to us and our impulses, desires, aversions, in short, whatever is our own doing. Are our desires up to us? Can I really determine what I desire? I'm questioning this a little bit. What do you think? So in short, whatever is our own doing. Our bodies are not up to us. So yeah, I agree with that, right? I mean, your body is sometimes up to you when I move my arm, but when it falls, it falls. And it seems disease is also not necessarily up to me, right? So the things that are up to us are by nature free, unhindered, and unimpeded. The things that are not up to us are weak, enslaved, hindered, not our own. So remember, if you think, I wonder really, why are the things that are up to us are by nature free, unhindered, and unimpeded? So I guess yeah, so our opinion is by nature free. It cannot be impacted by anything. My choice to like something, or I guess my choice to be free of judgment, is up to me. So, and all the other things that are not up to me are weak and enslaved by something else. So remember, if you think that things naturally enslaved are free, or that things not your own are your own, you will be thwarted, miserable, and upset, and will blame both gods and man. But if you think that only what is yours is really yours, and that what is not your own is, just as it is, not your own, then no one will ever coerce you, no one will hinder you, you will blame no one, you will not accuse anyone, you will not do a single thing unwillingly, and you will have no enemies, no one will harm you, because you will not be harmed at all. So yeah, this is a very strong position here, right? So if you really get into state with your nature, nothing will be able to harm you, and you won't feel miserable. So as you aim for such great goals, remember that you must not undertake them by acting moderately, but must let some things go completely and postpone others for the time being. So you cannot just do that by virtue of moderation. And I really wonder what the footnote here is about. Yeah, it's what I thought. So it's not the Aristotelian policy of a mean or middle course between extremes. So it's not a question of moderation. The philosophy can be extreme. But if you want both those great goals and also to hold public office and to be rich, then you may perhaps not get even the latter just because you aim at the former too. And you certainly will fail to get the former, which are the only things that yield freedom and happiness. Okay, so this is a really apolitical statement, right? So he says basically that once you engage into politics, you won't achieve what the Stoics achieved. So, and yeah, he says if you aim for externals, right, then you won't get these externals either. So you won't get happiness and also not the goods that you desire. That's a bit empirical here. I'm not very much in line. And by the way, I'm always bothered about publishers not putting the footnotes on the bottom of the page, but at the end of the book. It just makes it impossible to pursue them. Anyway, we keep reading. From the start then, work on saying that to each harsh appearance, You are an appearance and not at all the thing that has the appearance. Then examine it and assess by these yardsticks that you have, and first and foremost by whether it concerns the things that are up to us or the things that are not up to us. And if it is about one of the things that is not up to us, be ready to say, you are not in relation to me. So yeah, we make a distinction between things that are up to us and things that are not up to us. And basically our opinions are up to us and all other stuff is just external. So this is the general mindset that we pursue as a Stoic, right? Let's go on. Remember, what a desire proposes is that you gain what you desire. And what an aversion proposes is that you not fall into what you are averse to. Someone who fails to get what he desires is unfortunate, while someone who falls into what he is averse to has met misfortune. So if you are averse only to what is against nature among the things that are up to you, then you will never fall into anything that you are averse to. But if you're averse to illness or death or poverty, you will have misfortune. So detach your aversion from everything not up to us and transfer it to what is against nature among the things that are up to us. So if you have aversions, then you should have aversions against something that is against nature. And I guess like you should have an aversion against opinions, because opinions are up to you and it is in accordance with nature to not have them, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, don't trust your desires, don't trust your aversions, try to manipulate them. And for the time being, eliminate desire completely. Since if you desire something that is not up to you, you are bound to be unfortunate, and at the same time, none of the things that are up to us, which it would be good to desire, will be available to you. Make us only of impulse and its contrary rejection through with reservation, lightly, and without straining. Yeah, so just try to desire what you can get by nature. So I guess if you have food and you eat it, then desire it at the moment you eat it. Otherwise, don't desire it. And now, next, a very controversial passage. In the case of everything attractive or useful or that you are fond of, remember to say just what sort of thing it is, beginning with the least little thing. If you're fond of a jug, say, I'm fond of a jug. For when it is broken, you will not be upset. And here, the most extreme case, if you kiss your child or your wife, see that you're kissing a human being, for when it dies, you will not be upset. So just make clear to yourself that everyone in your surrounding is going to die. Okay, so when you're about to undertake some action, remind yourself what sort of action it is. If you're going out for a bath, put before your mind what happens at baths. There are people who splash, people who jostle, people who are insulting, people who steal. And you will undertake the action more securely if from the start you say of it, I want to take a bath and to keep my choices in accord with nature. And likewise for each action. For that way, if something happens to interfere with your bathing, you will be ready to say, oh well, I wanted not only this, but also to keep my choices in accord with nature, and I cannot do that if I'm annoyed with things that happen. Yeah, it's a very interesting attitude, right? I know that here in my house, and I don't really know how to deal with it. Like somehow the children in both me, they decided to play basketball in the apartment. And as you may know, I live in China, so I don't want to go and say like, hey, you cannot play basketball in your apartment. But they play that all day, and I wonder if that is a Stoic attitude or whether I just say it like in this caricature, right? It's fine. But yeah, I guess at some point I'm going to say something about it. Like, I mean, so the reason why I also don't say something is because I play a lot of piano, right? Anyway. Yeah, this year we didn't have yet, right? What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about the things. For example, death is nothing dreadful, but instead, the judgment about death, that it is dreadful, that is what is dreadful. So what actually induces anxiety in us? It is the thought of anxiety, I guess. So when we are thwarted or upset or distressed, let us never blame someone else, but rather ourselves, that is, our own judgments. An uneducated person accuses others when he is doing badly. A partly educated person accuses himself. An educated person accuses neither someone else nor himself. So it's a discipline where you try to be free of judgment. The question is, can we really achieve that? That's really my question. Do not be joyful about any superiority that is not your own. If the horse were to say joyfully, I'm beautiful, one could put up with it. But certainly you, when you say joyfully, I have a beautiful horse, are joyful about the good of the horse. What then is your own? Your way of dealing with appearances. So whenever you are in accord with nature in your way of dealing with appearances, then be joyful, since then you are joyful about a good of your own. And I really wonder, how do I mean, like with a horse, it's clear, right? Okay, I say, well, I don't possess a beautiful horse, but somehow I can be joyful about having a horse that thinks that is beautiful. But what if somebody breaks my legs? That's painful. Can I really detach my judgment from that? On a voyage, when your boat has anchored, if you want to get fresh water, you may pick up a small shellfish, and a vegetable, by the way. But you must keep your mind fixed on the boat and look around frequently in case the captain calls. If he calls, you must let all those other things go so that you will not be tied up and thrown on the ship like livestock. That is how it is in life too. If you are given a wife and a child instead of a vegetable and a small shellfish, that will not hinder you. But if the captain calls, let all those things go and run to the boat without turning back. And if you are old, do not even go far from the boat so that when the call comes, you're not left behind. So yeah, I see, okay, yeah, wife and child are like vegetable, but what is the boat? What is the boat in my life? What does the boat stand for? What do you think? What does the boat stand for? I don't have an idea. Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen and your life goes well. Yeah, just be in accord with whatever happens around you. Illness interferes with the body. By the way, a very revolutionary view, right? Not with one's faculty of choice, unless that faculty of choice wishes it too. Lameness interferes with limp, not with one's faculty of choice. Say this at each thing that happens to you, since you will find that it interferes with something else, not with you. At each thing that happens to you, remember to turn yourself and ask what capacity you have for dealing with it. If you see a beautiful boy or a woman, you will find the capacity of self-control for that. If hardship comes to you, you will find endurance. If it is abuse, you will find patience. And if you become used to this, you will not be carried away by appearances. So yeah, it's a belief of the inner control of ourselves, right? Like if you have a depression, that would be his advice. Just change yourself. You're in control of yourself. I don't think it's psychologically that easy, right? So like empirically, it's not really true, right? It's like the idea of tremendous self-control. Is that possible? Never say about anything, I have lost it. I have given it back. Did your child die? It was given back. Did your wife die? She was given back. My land was taken. So this too was given back. But the person who took it was bad. How does the way the giver asks for it back concern you? As long as he gives it, take care of it as something that is not your own, just as travelers treat an inn. Yeah, I don't know. I feel this is very questionable. This is like obviously the... Am I unfair if I say this is the philosophy of a slave? Am I unfair when I say that? How do I change the lighter again? Can't I just press 1, 2? Or what did I have to do? Yeah, I just pressed 3. So Yeah, so I think this is a questionable passage again, right? If you want to make progress, give all your considerations like these. If I neglect my property, I will have nothing to live on. If I do not punish my slave boy, he will be bad. It is better to die of hunger with distress and fear gone than to live upset in the midst of plenty. It is better for the slave boy to be bad than for you to be in a bad state. Begin therefore with little things. A little oil is spilled, little wine is stolen. Say, this is the price of tranquility. This is the price of not being upset. Nothing comes for free. When you call the slave boy, keep in mind that he is capable of not paying attention. And even if he does pay attention, he is capable of not doing any of the things that you want him to. But he is not in such a good position that your being upset or not depends on him. Well, I suggest we finish for now. We had definitely some interesting insights here at assisted reading, so I hope you enjoyed that. You got like a little bit of an introduction to the Stoics. The Stoic philosophy is pretty successful in Silicon Valley, right? But I wonder if that hype is justified. What do you think? Is the Stoic philosophy justified or not? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, like and subscribe, live long and prosper.